school, how come your brother is an opposite field hitter? You know, we all knew why.
So the only way for me to hit homers was right out there. So I had left-handed, I hit everything like that way. So that's why I think I learned to hit the ball the other way, playing right here.
I sat by him at an all-star game one time, and he started talking to me about hitting. And he wanted to know if I use my bottom hand when I'm hitting left-handed, do I pull the ball, pull the bat with this hand and guide it with this one, or and when I'm hitting left-handed, did I pull it with this one and guide it? Which is your strong hand? And he was telling me all this stuff about hitting. And I went one of those, after I left the All-Star game, I went like 0 for 30 or something like that because I was trying to think of things that he told me to do. I was in Kansas City. My dad was working in the mines down in Oklahoma, and I called him and I said, "Dad, I don't think I can play ball. You know, I ain't done it. You know." He said, "Well, where are you at?" And I told him what hotel I was in Kansas City. He said, "Well, I'll be right there." And he got in his car and drove straight up there right then. And I thought he was coming up to pat me on the back and say, "Hang in there, kid," or something like that. He opens the door. He knocked on the door. I open the door. He just walks in. He grabs my suitcase and starts putting my clothes in it. I said, "What are you doing, Dad?" And he goes, "Taking you home." I said, "Why?" He said, "I thought I raised a man." Says, "You ain't nothing but a coward." And that really hit home. After he left, I started hitting again, and then Casey brought me back to the Yankees.
He was far clumsier in the field than DiMaggio had been, but he quickly became a superb switch hitter, capable of hitting as far left-handed as Babe Ruth had, as far right-handed as Jimmy Fox. Faster at the start of his career than any man in baseball. On April 17, 1953, he drove a home run out of Griffith Park in Washington that measured 565 feet.
I had a guy ask me one time, "Mickey, do you ever go up to the plate just trying to hit a home run?" I said, "Every time." I did. I wanted to hit the ball out of the park, and it used to make Casey mad, you know, especially if there was somebody on second or something like that, you know, and a hit would win the game, and I'm up there striking out, you know, because I'm trying to hit it too hard. But that's the way I felt. I wanted to hit the ball as far as I could every time I swung at it.
As expected, the Red Sox won the first game. But Ted Williams was held to just one hit after St. Louis employed a bizarre new strategy against the Boston left fielder. They called it the Williams shift.
All eyes were focused on Williams as the Cards sprang a newfangled defense against the dreaded Boston Clouder. They moved their third baseman, Whitey Kurowski, to the right of shortstop Marty Marion as they bunched all four of their infielders between first and a few feet beyond second base. The outfielders also draped themselves far to the right, leaving the left side of the field unprotected. New York Times.
No hits. Right at somebody. Awfully hard to get a ball through all of that. And so as a result, I didn't produce in the later innings on the count. I'd either get a walk, or I'd hit it at somebody, or if I were lucky, 1 in 16 hit a home run. Well, those odds are not very good.
They knew where he was going to hit it.
When I went to home plate, I wanted to make sure I had plate coverage. I didn't want to go to home plate and think about my plate coverage from the middle back into me, because that would get me off the baseball. It would get me flying, my shoulder open, and that's not what I want to do. I would take these three pitches and eliminate them, not look for them. and I would look for the ball from here over that way. That way I'm going to have my barrel in the strike zone for a longer period of time and be able to cover so many more pitches. If I just look for the ball in or plan to hit that ball in, pitchers, first of all, don't like to pitch in. Because if they pitch in on a guy with power, they can make a mistake, or even a guy that doesn't have power and give up a home run. So they want to keep the ball away. The majority of the balls are going to be away. And if you're looking away, the thought process becomes my front side's in, my shoulder's not flying, my hip stays in, my knee stays in. I'm looking for a good ball to hit, and I'm behind the baseball. It's real easy to see if you're outside the ball or inside the ball by watching the ball flight. If you see a guy that hits sinking line drives, he's around the baseball. He's swinging up on the ball, and he's swinging outside the baseball. If you take a look at Batista that plays with Toronto, boy, does he stay inside the baseball and inside himself. He gets up there, and he's kind of, everything's tucked in where he stays.
From the Hall of Famer, Ken Griffey Jr. himself.
Junior Belton is just taking over the American League lead in home runs by way.
Talk to me about your stance and how you would approach a baseball coming in.
Well, the first thing is having plate coverage. You know, you find a lot of little leaguers that would stand far enough from the plate that they couldn't hit this pitch. Well, when I came in there, the first thing I did was touch that part. So now, when I still extend, I'm still plate coverage and then some. Like, even if I do this, you're not going to hit a ball like this. You're still going to hit it like that.
Now let's watch the swing. Lance rotates around and just throws the head of the bat.
Now, the second thing was I tried to look at the pitcher in his chest, because he's always standing there like this. The first thing I did was line up to him. He stands in, I'm right there at the chest. You know, even though they say I was a pull hitter, I didn't think about pulling the ball. I thought about hitting the 375 to 375.
Well, you got 99 power in, you know, PlayStation. I'm just saying.
Well, that ball played by baseball.
A lot of people talk about stay inside the baseball. I hadn't heard that terminology until the last 15 years or so.
Look at the stroke by Junior. Got his hands in and hits it into the seats in right field.
You're staying inside. You don't go there. When a pitch is coming, you're like, boom, you got to get your hands in to enough to get that barrel.
Watch him load up short, quick, contact out front, back heel comes off.
So my hand's the baseball, all right? I'm coming in at you. What are you thinking?
I'm going to go, okay, there.
Days of Future, this will be considered one of the classic swings of all time.
I don't drag, you know, some people drag it. I was learned taught, okay, if I can get that palm right there, I can go anywhere.
Junior getting a standing ovation as he touches it off.
People talk about the shift. Well, the shift only blocks the ground ball. They don't block a line drive or something hit hard. They could have moved everybody over there. I was going to find the hole.
Forget about it. The most classic swing in the game today.
続ける今の時バットを振り続ける天才今の時バットを振り続ける天才
この時期マリナーズはプレーオフ進出を狙う上位チームとの対戦が続きました。対戦相手にとって最も怖い存在はイチローです。相手チームは徹底したイチロー対策を立ててきました。
その答えがここにあった。よく見ると非常に体が柔らかいことがわかる。イチローは上半身下半身ともに関節の可動域が極端に広い。この柔軟性があるからこそ故障を未然に防ぎワンシーズンをフルに戦うことができる。
Always watching, the way he hits, and that approach that I take from him is slow. He's pretty slow with it. He's slow when he loads. He's pretty slow, and I think that's a big key for a hitter. And you can see, how well he hits. He's not in a rush to hit, so he just smooth, pretty slow with his feet, and then he just let his hands go. Like I say, he's one of my idols, as a hitting wise. Well, this is the photo that I'm gonna.
Me and Shaq, we talk about all the time that I wish I can almost get from food down my throat. It's something that's just natural. I cannot. I open up a little more with this track, and I'm thinking myself, let the ball get deeper than normal. And I'm now it's just more like these little tips right here.
So when you tell me let the ball get deeper, so what is that? How do you program that in your mind to let that ball get deeper?
Well, it's I don't know. It just I got to strike, and then I'm thinking myself, I'm gonna hit a bullet over first base. When early, when the count is in mind, I don't try to hit the ball. That's no good. That's why you're so good. You don't want to hit the ball over first base. You want to drive. See, when I tell guys, because you need to stay the ball inside. But it's like when I'm moving a guy over, did I want to move the guy over hitting a ground ball to second base, or I want to ride the ball at second base? And that's what I want to do. And BP, I want to drive the ball in the gap. I don't want to hit ball with first base head, because if I drive the ball with first base head, see, that's going to make me do this. But if I'm driving the ball right center, now I'm here, and then I'm going, boom, driving. And that's what I want. I want to drive. If I'm hitting the left field, I want to drive the ball. You're barely going to see me if we try to put a ball to the left field like down the line. It's going to have to be something that Mac, maybe BP, throw me a ball way inside. It's my body react, and then I keep it fair. Like that T, when we were hitting right inside, that's the ball that they might throw it in the game to you. And how you keep that ball fair, it's staying inside. It's not pulling your body out. It's staying inside, and boom, everything comes in reaction. Absolutely.